Namaste, dear yogis. Welcome back to the third video of the Bhagavad video series at Jnana Yoga. If you remember last time, we started with the first part of the 16 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. We were talking about Karma Yoga, what does it mean, and the relation to the times that we're living in right now. I know it's very challenging for a lot of us. Every day is something new and not in a good way. I'm going to jump right into it. We have to cover the next 6 chapters, which is concerned with attaining the path of self-realization and the path of uniting with the true self through the path of knowledge, or the yoga of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. That would be the 7th chapter, which is called the wisdom from realization. So as as the prince is continuing the conversation with Krishna, he's asking him which path he should be taking in order to face the challenge of going against his own family, and what is the true nature of the humans on this plane of existence. So in that essence and in that context, Krishna is answering these questions. He says, I will give you both Gyan and Vyan. So Gyan would be the knowledge, Vyan would be the realization. When both these are realized, there is nothing more you need to know. One person in many thousands may seek perfection, yet of these only a few reach the goal and come to realize me. Earth, water, fire, air, Akash. Akash is the 5th element. The English translation would be ether. Mind, intellect, and ego. These are the 8 divisions of my Prakriti. Now, these are some Sanskrit words and terms. That's why I'm jumping in to explain instead of you looking it up. So, when we say Prakriti, we mean energy. And then he continues. The 3 states, Sattva, Raja, and Tamas, come from me, but I'm not them. These 3 gunas deceive the world. So, these are the 3 properties that govern the whole universe. Sattva, or the sattvic energy, what we should be aiming for is the middle ground, or the golden middle, basically. So this is the balance between the left and the right. Rajas would be the more aggressive energy, and this can relate to, let's say, people that eat meat generally in life. They are more aggressive and more outgoing, and there is a lot of they're the ones that have that Martian energy in them. And then we have the Tamas, which is the opposite of the aggressive nature, which would be lethargic. And these are the people that usually, in a relation to food, and why I'm mentioning food, I'll explain, is that these are the people that eat usually frozen food or food that was prepared a long time ago and just sitting in the fridge. So what we are looking for is, we are looking for the sattvic energy, or the sattvic property. And that's the balanced diet, which always has a lot of fresh fruits and vegetables and food that is actually prepared by own hands, by own energy. And these are the 3 properties, not only in the universe, but in us as well. And we always play between those 3, always aiming to find the middle one. So these 3 gunas deceive the world. People fail to look beyond them to me, supreme and imperishable. The 3 gunas make up my divine Maya, difficult to overcome. I mentioned last week, Maya is the illusion of the 3-dimensional world that we live in. So it all plays part in the creation of our beings and the journey of our soul from one life to another. and it's always a play between these three energies. Every human being goes and tries to overcome, not to stray too left or too right. So, just sitting on the ground today, trying to feel more grounded. Others are deluded by Maya, the illusion. Performing evil deeds, they have no devotion to me. Having lost all discrimination, they follow the way of their lower nature. And this is in a context of the philosophy behind the 7 chakras in our body. There are 114 chakras, but the 7 ones that go along our spine are the major ones. So everybody is stuck in the first 3 or the lower energy chakras. And this is the foundation of every life. And it's concerned about shelter and food and sex. So these are the 3 lower energies that we just can snap out of it and move on to the 4th chakra, which would be the heart. Or becoming a society that instead of gut decisions, makes heart decisions. Delusion arises from the duality of attraction and aversion, Arjuna. Every creature is deluded by these from birth. But those who have freed themselves from all wrongdoing are firmly established in a worship of me. The next chapter explains different concepts of the Upanishads, which are one of the oldest Indian scriptures. That's why it's called the Eternal Godhead. And this conversation starts with the prince asking about Brahman and what is the nature of action. So before I read the answer from Krishna, I would like to explain the 3 deities in Indian philosophy. We have the creator, Brahman. So before I continue, so there are 3 Murti and 3 Devi in Indian philosophy. That's 3 gods and 3 goddesses. Like every male has a female counterpart to itself. So the creator, Brahman, has his own counterpart called Saraswati. That's the goddess of the cosmic intelligence. Then we have Vishnu, who is the preserver of the universe. His wife or female counterpart is Lakshmi. She represents wealth and fertility. And then we have the destroyer of the universe, Shiva, with his wife, Parvati, or we know her as Shakti or Kali. So these are different aspects of the same energy. Now bear in mind that these are not, their personification in Hindu philosophy is only to help people understand what type of energies are we dealing with. So if even the word God, G-O-D, is a reflection of these 3 energies in the universe. If Brahman is the creator or somebody who generates the energy, we have the G from God. Then we have Vishnu, who is the preserver or the operator. Then we have the O from God. And then we have the destroyer, which is Shiva, and that's the D from God. Just interesting facts for you to know. And this is where Krishna explains or answers about Brahman. My highest nature, the imperishable Brahman, gives every creature its existence and lives in every creature as Adi Atma. Adi Atma, Adi means first, Atma means soul. The Adi Bhuta is the perishable body. So the first body is the one that disappears. The Adi Daiva is the Purusha, which is the eternal spirit. And then we go to Adi Jnana, the supreme sacrifice that is made to me as a Lord within you, dwelling in every creature. The Lord is the supreme poet, the first cause, the sovereign ruler, subtler than the tiniest particle, the support of all, inconceivable, bright as the sun, and most importantly, beyond darkness. Those who understand the cosmic laws know that the day of Brahma ends after 1,000 yugas. Yuga is that's how they measure the times in a cosmic terminology in Hindu scriptures. And the night of Brahma ends after 1,000 yugas. So when the day of Brahma dawns, forms are being brought forth from the unmanifested. And then when the night of Brahma comes, these forms merge in the formless again. So this is where we dissipate all the dualities. This Supreme Lord who pervades all existence, the true self of all creatures, may be realized through undivided love. There are two paths, Arjuna, which the soul may follow at the time of death. One leads to rebirth and the other to liberation. These two paths, the light and the dark, are said to be eternal, leading some to liberation and others to rebirth. Attain this knowledge through perseverance in yoga. There is a merit in studying the scriptures, in selfless service, austerity, and giving. But the practice of meditation carries you beyond all these to the supreme abode of the highest creator. I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and I mentioned already in the first part of the Bhagavad Gita, where the whole book and the whole conversation has basis in yoga philosophy and yoga practice. As you can see, there is no mention of any goat yoga or beer yoga or wine yoga. I don't have time to explain why not. Next chapter is the royal path, and this is where Krishna continues the path of attaining knowledge, saying, I pervade the entire universe in my unmanifested form, and all creatures find their existence in me, but I'm not limited by them. At the end of the eon, so now they're using the Western, I guess, word for yuga, these creatures return to unmanifested matter. At the beginning of the next cycle, I send them forth again. So that's Lila. Lila means the play between the energies, between the magnetic and electricity as an energy. And it's the play between two, creating all the three properties of the nature that we mentioned, and the play between the five elements. And then we go through that for whatever thousands of years, and then we go back to oneness. Controlling my prakriti, that would mean the energy. Again and again, I bring forth these myriad forms and subject them to the laws of my prakriti. I am the father and the mother of this universe, and its grandfather too. I am its entire support. I am the sum of all knowledge, the purifier, the syllable Om. I am the sacred scriptures, the Rig and Sama Vedas. Next chapter, the divine splendor. This is where Krishna goes deeper into the revelation of his divine being. This is where the prince realizes the true nature of his charioteer. So he continues, to those steadfast in love and devotion, I will give spiritual wisdom, so that they may come to me. Out of compassion, I destroy the darkness of their ignorance. From within them, I light the lamp of wisdom and dispel all darkness from their lives. Why I chose to like different verses, because I'm not reading obviously the whole book. Why I choose certain verses is that I'm trying to make a connection to or show the relevance of the Bhagavad Gita to the lives that we live right now. We're at the lowest point of our consciousness right now as a humanity. I understand that there are a lot of people that are awakened, in a sense, are true. They have become true seekers of knowledge and seekers of the actual truth, staying away from the shadows and the darkness. And I know it's a very, very challenging to do so, because people like to dwell in ignorance, and instead of peeling off layers of the illusion, they keep on adding more. and this is in the context of when I say people make up and do millions of add-ons to the traditional type of yoga, like the goat yoga or wine yoga or beer yoga, making it more difficult for themselves to actually liberate themselves from the delusion. Moving on to the cosmic vision, this is chapter 11, one of my favorite ones. So this is the most exalted chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is where Arjuna will see the divine vision of Krishna in his full nature as a god himself, Lord of the universe. It is difficult to see at first why the ultimate spiritual vision should be granted to Arjuna at this point. So we must remember that Krishna and Arjuna have been companions for many lives. Yet at the opening of the Gita, Arjuna is a warrior, little concerned with mystic visions. But step by step, Krishna has led him to an understanding of the real purpose of life, to know who he is, and to also know who Krishna is. And let's continue with the verses where he is granting him the cosmic vision. So Arjuna poses the question, out of compassion, you have taught me the supreme mystery of the self. Through your words, my delusion is gone. You have explained the origin and end of every creature, O lotus-eyed one, and told me of your own supreme limitless existence. O Lord, master of yoga, if you think me strong enough to behold it, show me your immortal self. And this is where Krishna just dives into the vastness of the knowledge of the universe and trying to put it into as humanly as possible to be understood by the reader. He says, I am the time, the destroyer of all. I have come to consume the world. Even without your participation, all the warriors gathered here will die. Therefore, arise, Arjuna, conquer your enemies, and enjoy the glory of sovereignty. I have already slain all these warriors. You will only be my instrument. Do not hesitate. Fight in this battle, and you will conquer your enemies. So this is a very powerful chapter. Remember it if you do decide to read the Bhagavad Gita, it's chapter 11. Personally, I relate a lot with this chapter. It gives you that not only hope, but it gives you that relief that everything will be fine and there is an order in universe. You just have to be quiet and follow it and listen. Arjuna, through my grace, you have been united with me and received this vision of my radiant universal form without beginning or end, which no one else has ever seen. Not by knowledge of the Vedas, nor sacrifice, nor charity, nor rituals, nor even by severe asceticism has any other mortal seen what you have seen, O heroic Arjuna. And do not be troubled, do not fear my terrible form. Let your heart be satisfied and your fears dispelled in looking at me as I was before. This is where he goes back to his human form. The last chapter of the second part, the Yoga of Knowledge, it's a very short chapter. Actually, it's bringing us to the last chapter or the last part of the Bhagavad Gita, the Bhakti Yoga or the Yoga of Devotion. And it focuses on the supreme importance of devotion and faith in spiritual development. So no rituals, no sacrifice, just devotion and faith of spiritual development. And when we say personal devotion, we mean love. And this is the most or the greatest motivation in spiritual life. So I only chose a couple of verses that are important to lead us to the next part. Those who set their hearts on me and worship me with unfailing devotion and faith are more established in yoga. Still your mind in me, still your intellect in me, and without doubt you will be united with me forever. If you cannot still your mind in me, learn to do so through the regular practice of meditation. If you lack the will of such self-discipline, engage yourself in my work. For selfless service can lead you at last to complete fulfillment. And if you're unable to do even that, surrender yourself to me, disciplining yourself and renouncing the results of all your action. Better indeed is knowledge than mechanical practice. Better than knowledge is meditation. But better still is surrender of attachment to results, the eye on the fruit, because there follows immediate peace. So that concludes the second part of Bhagavad Gita, the yoga of knowledge. I'm not going to add anything more to what I've mentioned and try to explain different Sanskrit words in it. I highly recommend for you to grab this book and have it next to you. It's an excellent manual of how to live a life on this earth while we are walking on this earth, on this plane of existence, and take everything with a smile on your face, because we are all part of a cosmic joke. Namaste.